In a momentous address, President Vladimir Putin celebrated the return of annexed Ukrainian territories to Russia, following an election that Western powers deemed illegitimate. Speaking at a Red Square pop concert commemorating the 10th anniversary of Russia's annexation of Crimea from Ukraine, Putin declared, "Hand in hand, we will forge ahead, and this unity will strengthen us. Long live Russia." He emphasized that Crimea holds a special place in Russia's heart, referring to it as the pride of Russia, and asserting that the Black Sea Peninsula had reclaimed its native harbor upon Moscow's annexation. Putin attributed Crimea's return to the unwavering faith of its people in their homeland, emphasizing their unbreakable connection to Russia. However, a senior Ukrainian official interpreted Putin's proposal to establish a buffer zone within Ukrainian territory as a clear sign of Moscow's intention to escalate the conflict. During his victory speech after re-election, Putin broached the idea of creating this buffer zone, which the Kremlin contends is necessary to safeguard Russia from Ukrainian attacks. Mikhailo Podolyak, a presidential aide, characterized this move as a direct and unequivocal statement that the war would intensify. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy stressed the critical importance of additional military aid from the United States. During a meeting with U.S. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, Zelenskyy underscored the significance of sustained international support for Ukraine, especially from the United States, in executing plans to reclaim occupied territories and safeguard Ukrainian citizens. Senator Graham expressed confidence that the stalled aid package in the U.S. Congress would soon receive approval, but he advocated for a different approach, aid in the form of a low-interest, waivable loan. This proposal aligns with the Republican stance favoring loans over grants for U.S. allies, aiming to ensure sustainability and popularity. Notably, this strategy echoes former President Donald Trump's position, who is likely to be the Republican candidate in the 2024 presidential election. Meanwhile, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan congratulated President Putin on his re-election and extended an offer to mediate between Moscow and Ukraine. In response to the escalating conflict, Turkey's top diplomat, Hakan Fidan, criticized the dangerous rhetoric emanating from both Europe and Moscow. Fidan emphasized the urgency of ending the war, highlighting the devastating toll on families from both sides. He stressed that there is much at stake and little to gain for either party. Additionally, EU foreign ministers expressed strong support for utilizing the revenues generated from frozen Russian assets to assist Ukraine. EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell clarified that while unanimity was not achieved, a strong consensus emerged in favor of this decision during a meeting in Brussels. Furthermore, the Council of the European Union ratified an agreement to increase EU support for the Ukrainian military by €5 billion through a dedicated assistance fund. This funding will be allocated for training in both lethal and non-lethal military equipment. Rewrite the below in Newstone by removing any plagiarism. Ukrainian shelling killed 4 people near Russia's border city of Belgorod on Monday, bringing the total number of dead in the region since last week to 15, authorities said. 4 people were killed in the village of Nikolskoye as a result of a direct shell hit on a private residential house, Governor Vyacheslav Gladkov said. Ukrainian officials said Monday that Russia had launched missiles on border regions where it has intensified attacks in recent days. Overnight, Russia launched 5 missiles on the northeastern Kharkiv border region and also targeted the neighboring Sumy border region with 2 missiles, the Ukrainian Air Force said. Russia also launched 22 drones on Ukraine overnight, 17 of which were shot down in various regions, the Air Force said. Moldova's defiant stand. In a defiant act, Moldova expelled a Russian diplomat, casting a shadow over the opening of polling stations for Russia's presidential election in the breakaway region of Transnistria. The Foreign Ministry, with steely resolve, summoned the Russian ambassador, signaling that Moldova would not yield to external pressures. Putin's journey eastward. Across vast distances, Russian President Vladimir Putin embarked on a journey to the heart of the East. In the month of May, he would traverse the ancient Silk Road, crossing borders and cultures, to engage in talks with his Chinese counterpart, Xi Jinping. Their words would echo through the corridors of power, shaping the future of nations. Ukraine's unseen warriors. Amidst the clash of titans, Ukraine's commander-in-chief, Oleksandr Syrskyi, recognized a hidden advantage. Unmanned systems, like silent guardians, would tip the scales in Kyiv's favor against numerically superior Russian forces. Drones, born of innovation and necessity, would dance across the skies, weaving a web of protection for a nation at the crossroads of history. The unwavering pledge, across the ocean, in the halls of power, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin made a solemn promise. The United States would not let Ukraine falter. Aid might stall and munitions might dwindle, but the spirit of resilience would endure. Kyiv's forces, standing tall, would find strength in the unwavering support of allies. NATO's ambitions and the Kremlin's watchful eye. The Kremlin, ever vigilant, cast its gaze upon NATO's ambitions. The South Caucasus, a land of ancient tapestries and simmering tensions, beckoned. Yet, stability remained elusive. Dmitry Medvedev, the Kremlin's voice, cautioned that expansion might sow discord. Meanwhile, Jens Stoltenberg, NATO's emissary, found solace in Armenia's solidarity with Ukraine, a fragile thread binding nations in troubled times. Grains of destiny. Beyond geopolitics, the earth yielded sustenance. Ukraine, the breadbasket of Europe, shipped 1.33 million tons of grains through the Romanian Black Sea port of Constanta. A silent procession of golden bounty flowed, defying borders and politics. In February, 894,000 tons departed, their journey etched in the annals of trade. European Transport Commissioner Adina Valian, her vision spanning rails and roads, saw promise in EU-funded investments, even as winter's grip loosened. Navigating the tides of trade, Valian, a harbinger of maritime affairs, revealed clandestine conversations between Ukrainian and Romanian officials. These emissaries spoke of 3 ephemeral buoys, poised to dance upon the waves in the port of Constanta. Their purpose? To augment the port's monthly transit capacity by an additional 1 million tons. The sea, ever fickle, would bear witness to this delicate ballet of commerce. Tariffs and the grains toll. Across the continent, the European Union stirred. The Financial Times, a chronicler of economic winds, whispered secrets of impending tariffs. Russian and Belarusian grain, once free sailing, would now face a toll. The European Commission, veiled in bureaucracy, prepared to impose a duty of €95 per ton upon these golden cereals. Oilseeds and their progeny would not escape unscathed. A 50% tariff would bind them. Farmers, their voices rising like tempests, protested the EU's Green Deal, a pact to tame climate's fury. And amidst this tempest, Ukrainian imports surged, a consequence of Russia's invasion. Neighbors, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, cried foul, their livelihoods caught in the crosswinds. Children of Belgorod, shadows and peril, far from the trading floors and tariff debates, in Russia's Belgorod region, shadows lengthened. Vyacheslav Gladkov, the governor, cast a somber decree. 9,000 children, innocent souls, would flee Belgorod city and its outlying districts. The specter of Ukrainian shelling loomed, and the first group of 1,200 would depart on March's Eve. Their footsteps, etched in uncertainty, echoed across the land, a haunting refrain of innocence caught in the crossfire. Moldova's defiant stand. From the heart of Moldova, a proclamation echoed, a Russian diplomat expelled, a gauntlet thrown. The opening of polling stations in Transnistria, that pro-Russian enclave, ignited sparks of defiance. Moldova, once bound by the Soviet tapestry, now stood firm, despite Chisinau's whispered opposition. The government's voice rang clear. Russia's move, a trespass upon Moldova's sovereignty, a breach of honor. The call for negotiation. Across distant lands, Walter Bayer, a sage of diplomacy, stepped forth. The European Union, its chambers echoing with whispers, grappled with war's relentless grip. Ukraine, a nation scarred, its fields soaked in sorrow, yearned for peace. Pope Francis, his voice a beacon, raised the white flag. And Bayer, in the hallowed halls of the European newsroom, spoke of frozen fronts and new beginnings. His plea resounded. Let the diplomats weave threads of negotiation, let the cannons fall silent, and may the Russian troops retreat. The time had come to end the war, to halt the killing.